Hi, everybody, and welcome. So today is going to be a little bit of a different video because today I have asked Andrea, who's my editor. Hi, Andrea.
Hey, Neha.
So for those of you that like TalkRx, you can thank Andrea because she was an enormous part of helping me with that. But today I got on with Andrea, and I had my own questions I want to ask. And so Andrea so graciously agreed to do a video blog, which, by the way, she has never agreed in like the 3 or 4 years I've known her.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you a question, Andrea, and I just really want your input because, we all learn from each other in different arenas. And
Right.
I am embarking on the online dating world, which has just thrown me for a loop. And for many reasons. One is I made the excuse I speak publicly and all this stuff. So like, I can't be on online dating. Like, I think it was kind of an excuse, it's like a way to say it. But I think the truth is actually that it really scares me a little bit. Like it's a little nerve-wracking, and I actually find myself not acting like myself. And, like I want to, you know me really well, but you've seen me through my meltdowns over the book and, all this other stuff. But I think it just feels so much more natural at our age to like have grown up and like met people in person for real, not be like texting them.
Yes.
And like the funniest thing is, I was thinking of like making my profile be, 47 and on Bumble, exactly as I planned it.
I like it, and we should use it as a subheading somewhere.
Okay, you're going to write that one down?
Yeah, I'll write that one down.
So, anyway, so I have been, doing this online dating thing, and I've decided that it was something that I would do to really learn about myself in dating. Like, who am I in my 40s? Like, who am I? So this kind of was like a little experiment for me, which is like, how do I meet new people in a new town? I'm in a new place. And how do I kind of open myself up to this and learn like what I do well and what I don't? And so you have had more relationship experience than I am, and I would very easily argue are more successful at it than I've ever been.
That's how it appears at the moment. But who knows? We'll see.
So I wanted to ask you, so there was this guy that I was texting, and I really started, like I enjoyed texting him. We didn't even like talk on the phone, or I haven't met him or any of that stuff, but I could tell I really was starting to like him. I was like, oh my God. And I just need a lesson on patience, or like you have so much patience. And I just want to know, like, how do you do that? And how does one, kind of like allow for patience and let go of your expectations and do that in love? Because I can do it in many other arenas of my life, but love is the one that I'm really working on. So I just wanted wisdom from you.
Sure. Well, that's an interesting question that you put it in terms of patience, because you probably remember that at the time when I met my current husband, I was pretty slow. At least I thought I was pretty slow at the time. Like, I'm not going to get into anything too fast. I want to take my time. I want to enjoy it. And when we met and went on a few dates and, we're getting to know each other, he was a lot slower than I was. And so I think that's what you're referring to as patience. But I don't know if it was patience to a degree, but I had this interesting context of the previous several years had been incredibly hard, and several bad things had happened relationally, life-wise. And so coming out of that, I really felt like, man, anything good that came along, I was so aware of it. I was so aware of good things happening that when they happened, I really thought, oh, I just want to enjoy this for right now and let it be whatever it's going to be, because this may be it. And so my perspective at the time was really kind of in the moment, hey, this guy asked me out. He seems really enjoyable. I'll go on a date with him and enjoy it as a date, even if it's nothing more. Part of it was, some hesitation on my side. And part of it was just that, oh, I'm getting to have fun and I'm getting to interact with someone without strings and expectations. And I really there was some kind of freedom in the enjoyment of that moment. So if it was a date, if it was some texting back and forth where he was being funny, now I did find myself then at one point kind of getting to the, oh, are we gonna go on a date? Are we gonna actually get together?
Yeah.
And I just remember realizing that there are so many times when I felt really slow that if he was slower, I wanted to let him have the time that he needed and not feel rushed, because I knew how it felt to feel like I needed to rush, or someone else wanted me to rush, or, I wasn't ready and someone else was ready, whether it's work or a relationship or a family thing. And so I felt that it would never hurt to take as much time as possible, but it could definitely hurt if I tried to rush into all of it. And so I don't know what it was that reminded me of that, but I felt like I had that reminder on a regular basis of, you're not going to lose anything by rushing, and you have everything to gain by taking your time. And so,
oh my God, Andrea, and I'm of the, belief system, oh my God, you better not lose this. You better act now. You better don't, if you don't, something else might come along and it might actually go a different direction that you didn't expect.
So you're worried about losing something or missing out?
As soon as I know, there's a moment that I know, because it happens so rarely for me. Mm-hmm. If I get this inclination, oh my God, I might actually like this person. It's usually if they're funny, a little bit witty, playful.
Sure.
It makes me uncomfortable. But in that discomfort, I'm oh, okay, you're not allowed to break my heart. And so I better find out what's going on here, who you are, and I better not like you too much because then I don't want you to leave.
Right.
And so it's this really interesting place. And I just want to know, where did you drop off all those expectations and buy all that patience? At Costco or something? I mean, how did you do that?
Yes, it's in the back corner on the top row. It's very expensive.
I don't know. But I know I need to let go of some expectations and not worry about it, and kind of be more patient. You actually have this belief system underneath, which is, I've got nothing to lose by taking my time. And here I am thinking I could lose this if you
don't hurry up. Yeah.
That somehow I am the one who's going to make this happen or not happen,
Right. Well, that's interesting. Do you think that's actually true, that you're the one who has to make it happen or not happen?
I think, I just think in my life that when bad things have happened to me, even when I was young, it's true. I lost a boyfriend when I was young because I, was afraid that he was going to leave. And I mean, this is as young as going off to college. And so I started, hanging out with someone else just to make sure that I wouldn't be alone. And I wasn't doing anything with them, but I certainly was my fear has overtaken me and I've lost things that are good in my life. Or if, my uncle died when I was 10 and I was really angry at him before he left on this plane and then it crashed. And I remember thinking I bet you it was because I yelled at him. I have always personalized things and made them about me, and that puts a lot of pressure on me.
Mm-hmm. Well, and which makes sense, right? You do something and something happens and they seem connected. And I guess that's a good question to ask, because for me, what I realized out of my previous experiences, which were, traumatic with relationships, was that it didn't depend on me. It couldn't all depend on me. There was me, there was the other person. And if it was meant to be, there would be some divine providence that we would be together or we would not be together, or certain things would happen, and that if there wasn't something else beyond my own choices and how I was acting and who I was being, then it would depend on me. And I had this experience that made it very clear I was not in control of every single person in my life. You know? I mean,
although I desperately try to be.
Right.
Although I desperately try to be.
Exactly. And I think that's really the thing, because even when I did start dating Casey and he got to the point where he was ready to be in a relationship with me, I realized that I had the choice, he had the choice, and there was also that kind of unknown factor of providence outside of us, right? And so the purpose that our lives were going to cross and we're going to mesh for a time or forever. And so really like hanging on to that, then made me realize, okay, if I do something silly or stupid or annoying, it's not going to make or break this relationship. It will be everything I do. It will be everything he does. And it will be that other spiritual factor that I really have no control over anyway.
Yeah. It's like, if it was meant to be, it'll be. And to kind of relax into that. I mean, how silly of me, right? Like, I'm like, oh, I gotta do stuff. I gotta, I can't let this go. What if I make a mistake? It's so self-focused, and I think what I'm really hearing, a couple things, right? Like, just how important our belief system is that shapes us, underneath your belief that, like, listen, taking your time can't hurt, rushing can. And I'm like the opposite. And then in love, like, it's not like I do that in everything in my relationship. Right. I really have a lot of self-trust in other areas.
Right.
But in this one, it's really interesting. I've stayed away from it for a long time. And as I embark on it, I just am starting to notice that there's parts of me that are scared, and there's parts of me that feel awkward or unfamiliar. And you're right. Like, why am I making it all about me? Like, there's multiple other, factors that go into whether something's supposed to be a lesson I learn in this lifetime or not. And I just got to surrender to that. And that's really, the big takeaway that I'm getting. And maybe this person is like one of those stepping stones, like one of the places that I learn about myself and how I show up, or what you're saying is like, listen, if it's right, you got to just let it go, and it'll circle back around when the learnings have happened and the ex-girlfriends are cleared, and you seem like the right one. So I really, at the end of all these talks, I kind of, how we come up with takeaways and in our newsletters and all this stuff. Like, what would be the takeaways here? The takeaways.
Well, I was thinking there is probably a question that may go with it, right? That what is it that really trips you up, or what is it that really contributes to your fear? Because then once you realize that, then you can look at timing and expectations and
patience,
trusting. Yeah. Are you really trusting yourself? Are you trusting that there's also other factors beyond you? That kind of thing.
You know what that does? It just takes all of the pressure off me. Like it's not me that's going to mess this up. And if I do mess up, because I think that's what relationship is about. It's about learning and growing and doing take twos and all this kind of stuff. Like, listen, somebody's either going to find that endearing, or they're going to want to like me enough to have a conversation,
right?
Or not. And if the answer is not, then I should trust that right now, thank you, universe, for saving me from like a lot of pain. Because probably be a lot more pain with someone who's unavailable, not ready, not interested enough in me. Like, I know these things. It's just, it's a different game when you're in it, and you kind of have this hope, like, oh my God, really? I think another belief that is underlying for me that kind of undermines things is that I have this belief that I need to get rid of, that it's rare. That finding a connection to somebody is rare. And if I don't hold on to this one, another one might not come for a long time.
Okay.
And so
Where
I think
did
it's
that come from?
My life. That maybe like 5-7 times in my entire life have I actually felt connected to someone who felt connected to me. And when you've gone through, 30 years, maybe 25 years of dating, and it's happened 5 or 7 times in your life where you've actually really been drawn and attracted to somebody, it's kind of the story I've made up, but maybe I can make up a new one. Like, what if my new story is, now I'm older, I know who I am, I know what I want,
Right.
I'll recognize this person more easily, and hopefully from here on out, maybe my heart's open now and it'll happen much more frequently.
Right. And do you remember what you used to tell me when we first met and started working together, and I was not at all open to any relationships?
No, tell me.
Well, you used to say, well, you just need to open your heart. Just be open to feeling the emotions, whatever comes up. If it's excitement, if it's fear, if it's nervousness, if it's giddiness. And I was like, I'd rather stay in my brain, analyze things, and have an answer. And you were like, come on, Andrea, open up to the heart a little bit more, which really was a beginning for me.
Yeah.
But it sounds like even in some ways it's the same for you.
Well, I think just dating at this age is just so different. Like, it's just, it's rocking my world a little bit on a level that sometimes I don't even recognize myself. So we're going to chalk it up to learning and growing, and, cheers to everything we teach and write about, being what we use ourselves to get through these challenges. And I'm just really grateful. I'm really grateful that we can have these kinds of discussions and that we're willing to be open about it. And I just want to say thank you to you for getting on Vimeo with me and doing something new for you and allowing me to ask you my questions.
You're welcome. And thank you for all the learning and input that I've gotten over the years.